Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. All praises and glory is due to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostle elders of Great Millstone, and salutations to Joachim out there laboring and doing this work in truth and sincerity. And I'm gonna get into the so-called myth for maybe newer Akim that may just be learning this thing. As far as certain doctrines that brothers may have learned from growing up in a Christian church or Catholic church or things of that nature. And the first part of this topic that I'm going to deal with is called the misconceptions about Satan and the role he plays. As far as the myth that Satan was kicked out of heaven with 1/3 of the angels because he rebelled against the Most High. You know, so that's one stronghold I'm gonna be dealing with in this lesson. So, without further ado, this is Job chapter 1 verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of the Most High came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. Now this is the book of Job, and Job, who went through trials and tribulation in the flesh, suffering for righteousness' sake, and enduring patiently. This is going into how Satan came before the Most High to speak about the Most High servant Job, and how the Most High would allow Satan to test Job. So here's a question that certain brothers could present to somebody that may still take hold of this fable that Satan was kicked out of heaven. If he was kicked out of heaven, this was after the time of creation. This was after the time that the earth and everything was established. So why is it that he's taking counsel before the Lord Yahweh for his servant Job if he was kicked out of heaven? So continuing in verse 7, it says, "And the Lord Yahweh said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and walking up and down in it." Right, so Satan was, fulfilling his task. He was fulfilling going around, causing, wickedness in the earth, going about as a lion seeking whom he may devour. Alright? And that's the reason why, there's wickedness sown in the earth onto this day, because right now, here's an example. You can go to Luke, the 4th chapter, when Yahweh Shai was tempted of Satan in the wilderness. And what did Satan ask Yahweh Shai was if he could fall before him and worship him, and he would give him all the kingdoms of the earth. So pretty much right now, these Esau, the so-called white man, along with the other nations, they have a hand in rulership right now through the spiritual demon Satan. So once Yahweh Shai's dominion is set upon earth, the spiritual demon Satan won't have reign or dominion through these other nations, mainly chiefly being the so-called white man, who is his spiritual counterpart, who was created to sow wickedness in the earth. Okay. Verse 8, "And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth the Most High and escheweth evil?" Then Satan answered the Lord and said, Doth Job fear the Most High for naught? Hast not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord Yahweh said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thy hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. So that shows you that Satan takes counsel of the Most High as to what to do, rather than being in opposition or in rebellion towards the Most High right there. Because one thing that a lot of these churches don't understand is that the Most High, controls both sides, as far as righteousness and wickedness that's done in the earth. That's why he has left hand angels, and you have right hand angels that he has to do his bidding. All right. This is Isaiah 45. I'm going to start at 5. I am the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and there is none else, and there is no power beside me. I girded thee, though thou hast not known me, that they may know from the rising of the sun and from the west that there is none beside me. I am the Lord, Yahweh, and there is none else. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, Yahweh, do all these things. Alright, so there you have it. I mean, the Most High is the one who sanctions, life, death, disease, plagues. That's all the work of the Most High. If you're gonna be righteous, if you're gonna be wicked, and chief example being, the so-called white man who was created to be wicked, the 2/3 that was created to be wicked. That's the Most High. That's the Most High controlling all things. Here's another example. This is 1 Kings chapter 22, and I'm gonna start at verse 19. This is the prophet Micaiah speaking concerning King Ahab, as far as if he should go out to the battle with the Syrians. If you read earlier in the chapter, it says, and he said, Hear thou therefore the word of the Lord Yahweh. I saw the Lord Yahweh sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven, which is the angels, demons, standing by him on his right hand and on his left. Because you have the right hand angels, which represents the righteous, and on his left, the wicked, and the Lord and Satan being a part of the Most High's left hand. All right. And it says, and the Lord Yahweh said, Who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this manner, and another said on that manner. And there came forth a spirit and stood before the Lord Yahweh, and said, I will persuade him. And the Lord Yahweh said, Wherewith? And he said, I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, Thou shalt persuade him, and prevail also. Go and do so. So Most High put the spirit on this demonic entity to persuade all the false prophets that Ahab would take counsel of to go out to the battle, so he can be slayed. Because you notice earlier in the chapter, I'll just read it. So he came. This is 1 Kings 22:15. So he came to the king, and the king said unto him, Micaiah, shall we go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall we forbear? And he answered him, Go and prosper, for the Lord shall deliver it into the hand of the king. And the king said unto him, How many times shall I adjure thee that thou tell me nothing but that which is true in the name of the Lord Yahweh? And he said, I saw Israel scattered upon the hills as sheep that have not a shepherd. And the Lord said, these have no master, let them return everyone to his house in peace. Alright, and the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, did I not tell thee that he would not prophesy no good concerning me, but evil? Right, because Micaiah was only going to prophesy as to what the Most High commanded him to. This is verse 14, the verse I was actually looking for. And Micaiah said, as the Lord liveth, what the Lord Yahweh saith unto me, that will I speak. Alright, so Micaiah wasn't going to say what Ahab wanted to hear. He was only going to say what the Most High had put on his spirit to confess, that, you go out to this battle, you pretty much ain't going to make it back alive. And that was to King Ahab. But the Lord had put the spirit on, the alliance spirit on the false prophets that Ahab would take counsel of in order to draw him out to the battle. Showing you that, according to Isaiah 45th chapter and the 7th verse, that I form the light and create darkness, I make peace and create evil, I the Lord do all these things. So that's a clear example right there. Now, dealing with Isaiah the 14th chapter, where people would get it confused about O Lucifer, how art thou fallen from heaven? First you have to understand the meaning of that word Lucifer, for one. Alright, let's go to the blue letter. I'll read it first. Isaiah 14:12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which is weakest of nations? Alright, so that word Lucifer, people think that's the spiritual demon Satan, and that he's the one that's weakening the nations. But Satan has a physical counterpart in the earth that he's using to weaken the nations, and that's pretty much Esau, the so-called white man. Alright, this is the Greek word for Lucifer. It comes from the Hebrew Hayalal, and it says Lucifer, light bearer, shining one, morning star, Lucifer, of the king of Babylon, and Satan figuratively. Now, this is basically going into future prophecy, because when you read up above at the start of the chapter, it talks about our deliverance and putting these other nations under our subjection. This is Isaiah 14:1. For the Lord Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. So, with our deliverance coming up, whose captives were we? We were captives under primarily Esau, the so-called white man. We were primarily captives also amongst the Ishmaelites, the Hamites, who had sold us in the transatlantic slave trade. And we're going to take these nations, those three primary nations, along with the other nations, and they're going to be our captives. They're going to be our slaves. All right. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord Yahweh shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, how hath the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased. So it's not talking about ancient Babylon with King Nebuchadnezzar, where the rulership and domain lasted for about like 68 to 70 years, when the Persians and the Medes had took that kingdom down. But it's talking about the future Babylon, and the king of the future or current Babylon that we're in right now is Esau. Okay, verse Isaiah 14 verse 5. The Lord Yahweh hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruleth the nations in anger, is persecuted and none hindereth. Right, because that's going into the time where Esau's scepter of rulership is about to be broken, and he's about to be cast down into hardcore slavery. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against us. Hell from beneath is moved for thee, to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. Right, because hell actually represents a low point or a low condition. You know, basically, other brothers have done various topics on hell and the word hell and what it truly means. It's not talking about a place of eternal torment, because heaven can represent a pleasurable condition for a nation that's doing well, or a certain kingdom that's at the height of its power, that would be exalted unto heaven. And then hell is just a low point or a low condition. To prove that, here's Matthew chapter 11 verse 23. And thou, Capernaum, which was a city in Israel that Yahushua prophesied against, which art exalted unto heaven, shall be brought down to hell. So it doesn't literally mean that a whole city was exalted to heaven, or the third dimension, or the fourth dimension where the Most High and the angels dwell at. It's just that they were prospering, they were doing well. It says it shall be brought down to hell. For the mighty works which have been done in thee had been done in Sodom, it would have remained unto this day. But I say unto you that it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom in the day of judgment than for thee. Alright, so Yahushua is pretty much saying that because of the works that Yahushua had done there and the people didn't repent, it was going to be more tolerable for the Sodom, which was completely destroyed, than for the inhabitants of Capernaum. Because going back to 70 AD, our people was chased and slaughtered out of the land of Israel. So they were in dire straits. Okay, so going back to Isaiah the 14th chapter. Alright, at the 10th verse it says, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Right, because this devil Esau, who's in rulership, is proud right now because they got the nuclear weapons, they got the nuclear capability to go around and policing the other nations and taking of their resources. But guess what? They're going to be brought down low once the kingdom is established, and they're going to recognize that they're just regular men. Alright, it says, thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vials, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, O light bearer? Because what can um, be compared to, those who call themselves light bearer, the Illuminati. The ruling class families of Esau that's running this power structure. They will be considered the so-called light bearers in wickedness. Okay, us as the men of the Lord who are messengers of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, we're the real illuminated ones because we walk in the light of Yahweh Shai. Okay. Son of the morning, how art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will also sit upon the mountain of the congregation in the sides of the north. Alright, so Esau wants to, he has, like series like Star Wars and things of that nature because he actually wants to go in the heavens, into space, and actually be able to inhabit other planets. But that's only reserved for Israel. Though those houses of many mansions that Yahushua spoke about was only talking about Israel receiving that as an inheritance. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. All right. What's another way Esau is trying to be like the Most High? Through his satellites and surveillance systems, because he wants to be able to look upon everyone to know what they're doing. Because he wants to actually play the part of being the Most High and being able to see everything. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of a pit, which is their captivity. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? Alright? Because going into Revelations, in the 13th chapter, it talks about like who was able to make war with the beast. The beast, like you got various other beasts, like in Daniel's the second chapter, the seventh chapter, where it goes into certain beasts that represents a certain age of rulership. We're in the time of the last beast, which is the last extension of the Roman Empire. That's ruling. But really, this just shows that this whole parable was actually talking about a man, which was Esau, that was in rulership. Not a spiritual demon Satan. All right, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners. All right, because one with nuclear capability, that's gonna make a lot of the lands desolate, and also he has us, the Israelites, encamped in this prison house that we call America, which is Babylon the Great. Okay, so moving on to the next point. This is Luke chapter 10 verse 18, and he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. Okay, so a lot of churches will get this scripture messed up and thinking that Yahweh Shai was talking about the literal spiritual demon Satan falling from the sky. That's really not what it's getting into, but it's really getting into the future prophecy of Esau falling out of rulership. So this is and I'm gonna start up a little bit further. It says in Revelations 17 verse 13, these have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb. Okay, the Lamb being Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And just I'm gonna read the 12th verse just so you can get further understanding, or the 11th verse, lucky. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the eighth and of the seventh, and goeth into perdition, which is destruction. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb. Right, because all of these different nations and governments is actually going to gather their armies to fight against Yahweh Shai and the chariots of the angels at his coming. Okay. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. Okay. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, which represents America, when we read earlier in the chapter, which is Mystery Babylon, the whore that sitteth upon many waters, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. Okay? Because America is known as that great melting pot. You know. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Okay. So that shows that all of America's allies is going to turn against her and destroy her. They're also going to be, along with Russia and the BRICS nations, they're going to be shooting missiles on this place. For the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High be fulfilled. Okay. So going back to Luke 10 and 18, where it says, and he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. That's the end of Esau's rulership. To prove that even further, let me get Revelations, the 12th chapter. Okay. It says in Revelations 12 and 7, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, which is the dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns. That represents America, NATO, Esau's dominion and rulership. And the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Alright? So that's going to happen during the time of when Yahweh Shai comes to reign upon the earth. Esau, the so-called white man, is going to try to fight against Yahweh Shai and the angels to keep his dominion and his kingdom going, which is going to come to naught. Alright, this is the last precept. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 13, and I'm going to start at the top. It says, and it came to pass, after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. Now, one thing Ayathan from IUIC made mention of. He thought that, you know, when he read this, that the chariot was actually going to come from beneath the sea, but no. When you go into the research of Genesis, the 1st chapter, it talks about separating the waters from the waters. So really, it's talking about the elements, that's and the sky is an element that's a form of the waters, and then you have the waters that was separated for the actual sea or the ocean. You know, this word sea right here is not actually talking about, you know, the chariots coming from the sea, but actually from the sky. All right. So reading again, it says, "And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. And I behold, and lo, a man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him." And that's talking about Yahweh Shai with the thousands of heaven, representing the angels in their chariots, which which most would call those vehicles UFOs, but they're really the chariots of the Most High and the angels. Okay. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it faileth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of heaven, to subdue the man that came out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain, and flew upon it. And I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not, because it wasn't a graven hill. It was actually a giant chariot, you know. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held a sword or any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burnt them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. Okay, so that was Yahweh Shai, you know, destroying Esau's and all the other nations that were gathered with Esau to destroy their whole entire army without any contest, you know, because no matter what type of earthly technology that Esau got, it can't match up to Yahweh Shai and the angels, you know, power and chariots, you know. It says verse 12, "And afterward I saw the same man come down from the mountain, and call unto him another peaceable multitude. And there came much people unto him, whereof some were glad, which are the 144,000, the 1/3. Some were sorry, and some of them were bound, which is going to be the heathens that are going to be going into captivity, that's left on the planet after, you know, this destruction takes place. And others some brought of them that were offered. Then was I sick through great fear, and I awaked and said, Thou hast showed thy servant these wonders from the beginning, and hast counted me worthy that thou shouldest receive my prayer." Okay, so there you pretty much have it, you know, that pretty much like I just went through you know, a series of scriptures basically to show that um, Isaiah the 14th chapter wasn't talking about the spiritual demon Satan, but mainly it was going through how Esau's rulership is going to be destroyed. And I also went through various other scriptures showing you that you know, it was talking about pretty much Yahweh Shai taking down Esau's rulership and power structure. So with that, I hope you know, Akim out there got further edification and understanding. You know, as far as that whole myth of Satan falling out from heaven and, you know, being casted into the earth and all of that and madness. So with that, I will bring this lesson to a close. And with that, I want to say all praises and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostle elders of Great Millstone. And salutations to you, Akim, out there laboring and pushing this work in truth and sincerity. Shalom.